My name's Ryan Gleeson. I'm a chiropractor and the founder of Gorilla Chiro. And we have
Cameron Watkins. I'm the founder or co-director of Darch Physio and founder of Cnter Physio and owner of Cnter Yoga Studio, where we are now.
Perfect. We're going to answer some questions.
What's the biggest lie that your industry tells clients that you refuse to perpetuate?
Look, I think this is goes across the board in multiple health practitioner spaces, but that whatever the modality is, just by doing that modality, it's just going to fix whatever the problem is. And then the result is based on purely doing that modality and not taking, and that sort of takes into account that it's almost like it's just a finite problem and removes the fact that we're dynamic and there's constantly issues that contribute to the problem. So for me, it's not that like someone comes and they're fixed. It's about addressing the problem, getting on top of it, giving them the tools, actually from a clinical perspective, actually correcting what's going on, but then having that perspective that the body's constantly under stress, there's constant dynamic things that are affecting it, and putting things in place to keep someone well, as opposed to a finite start and finish and then nothing else contributes. If that makes sense.
Nice, man. Yeah, I think something that gets put out a lot is that there's one way to do something, and the truth is that there's endless different ways to help clients. And I think what we see in the industry is a little bit of tribalism, like chiropractor's the way, or physio's the way, or osteo's the way. The truth is that there's many ways to help the client, and there's many ways to skin a cat, and there's many ways to get a result. And I think what should start to shift and change is certainly this person-centered collaboration with the client themselves, putting them in their environment and working out what's going to be meaningful to them to make a change, and the fact that there's not going to be one way to get a result. Like you mentioned, things are constantly changing and evolving. The environment of the client changes, the client themselves is evolving as you go. So it needs to be this kind of dance as you work through the journey of rehabilitation. And I think both the physio or the clinician and the client need to stay quite open as you work through it. So just realizing that there's not one way to get a result, and it's actually really important, I think, and what we should do, rather than put shit on other clinicians, other professions. This collaboration, I think, is the best thing. Collaboration with the client themselves, collaboration with other professions and clinicians, and I believe that's what's going to start to shift things a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's being just more flexible.
Yeah.
In there, as opposed to having a very rigid,
that's right,
highly protocol driven without flexibility.
Yeah.
You know,
throw the protocols out. Yeah, fluidity in this journey. I think so.
Definitely.
What's the most controversial opinion you have about pain that most of your colleagues in the industry would disagree with?
Yeah, what gets around a little bit with a lot of chronic pain conditions is this thought that the pain is in the client's head. And I think the worst mistake a clinician can make is actually telling the client that the pain is psychosomatic or in their head. The body-mind connection is far more complicated than that, with the physiology of the cells and the tissues and the effect of the nervous system on the whole thing. So what seems to be much more realistic is the fact that yes, there's an issue in the tissues of the body, and that seems to be sending a message to the brain, and that signal may be getting amplified by these other things, by mental and emotional stresses, by chronic stress on the nervous system that affects the person's pain experience. But I think something that's very unhelpful and potentially harmful is sort of telling the client that it's actually in their head. That doesn't seem to be very helpful at all. The word gaslighting sort of comes to mind a little bit, and that can be particularly harmful, I think, in the process.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a continuation of what you said, like the brain-body or the mind-body connection. And something that's more controversial would be, like we mentioned when you were talking once in a podcast about the cost of being inauthentic and how that's expressed in the body.
Yes.
And I think, things like how aligned you are with your true self, your relationship with yourself, if someone's very isolated or they have good social connections, if they have joy, are they doing meaningful work with people that like something bigger than themselves?
That's
like
right.
Their purpose. Like these sort of things can be perceived as a bit bullshit and a bit woo-woo. But I know, I've said it, I know you've said it as well, that I think if, like, a lot of pain, is that unprocessed shit as well. And a lot of people, they think that they live in their head and their body is disconnected. It's like, it's not.
Yeah.
And the more in your head you are, the more I genuinely believe you're going to be suppressed in your body, and it's going to start coming out and manifesting as all sorts of symptoms or issues, whether it's a health issue or issues in relationships or whatever that is. So I think for me, it's that other category, like the quality of like relationships, your work satisfaction, your meaning, all that sort of stuff, because that does get stored in your body.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I've seen it, and there's people that I'll feel that I'm like, you can feel them and go, this is just like mechanically stuck and tight and overactive, but then there's other times you're just feeling and you're like, this just feels like there's like a deeper inflamed, a different quality of sort of feel, you know what I mean, in terms of how the musculature feels, and people who are like that in a chronic state, they always are the ones who you can tell they're more chaotic. It's going to affect their sleep. You can just tell they're not like peace, joy, gratitude. Right. Probably like 3 words you'd never associate with people like that, and that just gets stored in their body as well. And for them, the issue for them is they might believe, oh, what do I need? Do I need to do stretching? It's like, you can do stretching, but it's not going to fix that. Or what exercises can I do? Whereas they actually have to really look at it is challenging because there's so many layers to it. But that recognition that these other things like relationships, the quality of life, how you process things, they all do play a role, particularly in chronic pain.
Yeah, agreed. And I might just talk into that a little bit more as well. The authenticity piece is a big one, and that comment that I made saying that inauthenticity is a big contributing factor to disease, that got a lot of support, and it also got quite a bit of flack as well. And where it is uncomfortable for people is someone might be feeling like they're being authentic, or they might be unaware that they're not being inauthentic. But what seems to be running deeper than that is the person might not have done the exploration to really work out who they truly are. And I know, again, it sounds a bit woo-woo or a bit wishy-washy, but it's part of societal conditioning. And even, it's even like the way someone might be training. They've been swept up into a style of training, and they're addicted to the style of training, and they're trying to keep up with whoever they're trying to keep up with, but deep down, they're overtraining, they're training in a way that's not right for them, but because they haven't learned to understand themselves well enough, the way they're living their life, either whether it's work, whether it's the way that they're training, that is not in aligned with how they should be. And it seems that incongruency with how someone is living their life out of alignment with who they really are, how they really should be kind of working through their work-life balance, the way that they're training. I really feel that if someone's bumping into issues that are manifesting physically, a lot of the time I think they can take a deeper look at how they're going about things, work, life, training, even relationships. And I think if they ask themselves truly, are they functioning in a way that's in alignment with their deep sense of self, I think they might find that there's some things a little bit out of alignment, a little bit out of congruency, and that tends to create this tension this inner conflict that seems to come up in the body. That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, it's interesting.
Because like, you know, authenticity in essence is like you're wrestling with your true self.
Yeah,
You know, and
That's
the
right.
more, I think it's a severity. I think there's obviously a scale. There's like being purely your authentic self.
Yeah.
And there's being just totally inauthentic.
That's
it's,
right.
It's not like you're one or the other. You know,
No.
and it's always like a bit of a scale. And we all wear masks, and masks in different situations to different degrees. I think so. It's just like it's obviously. I mean, how we might present in content might be different if we're casual. Might be different to our parents. Might be different social settings, different people. You know, and that's one of those things that I think. But a big part of it is the degree of how authentic or inauthentic is going to, and then the duration of time. I mean, if you're a bit inauthentic for a week or so, it's going to be very different to being like totally inauthentic for decades.
That's right.
And then that's like a compounding thing over time.
Yeah, look, I do believe the less often we have to be ever putting on a mask, probably the better. You know, I do think
Totally.
I do think when you can just allow yourself to really come from a place that is in alignment with your true self, then everything just flows and it seems to flow a lot easier. Again, what seems to be the tricky part is figuring out who that is, and it's a bit of the age-old kind of proverb, hero's journey stuff, picturing kind of the Lion King, Simba looking in the reflection of the water going, who am I? It's a bit of a classic thing that I think maybe through your teenage years you're figuring it out, through your 20s you think you know who you are, and then and potentially that's when things start to come up and you go, who am I actually? How do I really want to be living my life? How do I really want to be showing up in relationships, in business and in life, and just getting clearer and clearer on that. And the clearer you can get on that and just be yourself in life, in relationships and in business, then things just tend to flow a little bit easier, don't they? Definitely. Yeah.
If you're being brutally honest, what's one service or treatment modality in your industry that's basically a scam?
TENS machines. Oh, sorry.
I'd agree.
They're a bit outdated now, but
they
are still being done.
No, I was thinking about this one with, they are, most of the stuff that is a bit of a scam has sort of been phased out. I think it's probably more of a question of what things are like heavily overrated. They might have some subtle improvement, but they just don't move the needle as much as.
Yeah, what do you reckon? It's really tricky, right?
It is tricky.
It's tricky because you could have someone like, Adam Meekins. Have you seen him? He's the sports physio. He's doing good work, but he is someone who isn't afraid to just call out a particular modality. So he's classic for saying foam rolling's a waste of time. Or he'll quite also happily say massage is a waste of time or dry needling is a waste of time. Because the science isn't suggesting that foam rolling is lengthening the tissues or whatever it might be. What it's not taking into account is the effect that modality is having on the entire system of that being, right? So I feel what's important is the authentic communication from the clinician. So if I'm doing massage, I'm not saying that I'm lengthening your tissues, right? If I'm going to talk into it, I'll say that I'm doing a treatment technique that's calming your nervous system down. At the end of the day, I'm doing a treatment technique that's going to relax the tissues. It's going to be therapeutic for the individual, and I'm going to do that technique while I also educate and learn about the person, and that's part of going on the journey with them. So I feel where something would be ineffective is saying that this massage or manipulation is going to fix everything, as opposed to going, this is part of this whole pile of treatment techniques that we're doing, and the education and the prescription of whatever other exercises you might throw in are going to be, you know, just as important or even more important.
Definitely, yeah. Look, I think it's like what you said. It's you have a battery of tools that you use.
Yeah.
Different tools, people are going to respond differently.
Yeah.
You know, you have some people that do dry needling, they respond amazing. Other people, minimal.
That's
it's
right.
Not to say it's good or bad, or
That's right.
soft tissue, or chiropractic, or physio, or stretching, or foam rolling, whatever it is. And ice baths, saunas.
Yeah.
Whatever vehicle you want to use. And I think, like what you said, when people try and protocol everything on hard science, and there's more variables at play as well. I think it's just from a clinician's perspective to be introduce tools that they think would benefit based on their clinical experience. And that's going to be different for different people.
Yeah.
But also, as you said, setting the expectations correct, that like this is just part of one tool that could help, you know, the general goal that we're moving.
That's right.
Help you, as opposed to this is going to fix you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had to learn with doing content. You know, in the early days of content, you want to do things that get attention, and they bring eyeballs, and do things differently. But also, as I've done more and more, I go, oh, if I do shit that's a bit too grabs a lot of attention, gets people excited, what happens is they start trying to connect dots in their mind that are incorrect.
Yeah, that's
right. As opposed to everything is like process driven and individual.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, you know, you watch someone adjust a jaw or do a wide strap video or do something a bit
lot of likes.
different. Yeah, do something different. And it's not to say these things still, and I say it to the boys at work, I go, these other tools that they can be effective, like really effective for some people, but the problem is when there's no education around the expectations of like what each tool does, people can start fantasizing and thinking that's going to cure all my problems.
That's
like,
right.
It may help, it may not.
Yeah.
But it might be worth investigating.
Well, that's right. I definitely want to comment on what I've seen happen in physio is, so some of the evidence started coming out that, let's say, massage itself isn't that effective. The science supporting massage on its own as a standalone treatment might not be that effective. So then what you're seeing are these new wave of young physios who are then afraid to put their hands on clients because the science has told them that it's not actually doing that much. And realistically, they're missing such a potent opportunity to connect and to help down-regulate this person's system who's really quite wound up. And we all know how good it feels to get a massage or something like that. And so people are walking away from a session with say, a physio who didn't lay a hand on them because they were going straight for the strength and conditioning and the exercises, which we know are, very important and a key piece of the puzzle, particularly if someone needs to get stronger, and that's going to help them. But they're scared to put their hands on clients because at some point in time they've learnt that it's scientifically not as supported as the exercises themselves. So it's quite an art form in working with the client, working with their expectations, what they think is going to help, working with them, working with techniques that is going to help get a result quite quickly, but then layer that on top of down-regulating the nervous system and doing the strengthening exercise, that sort of thing. So it's just, like you said, it's part of this kind of cocktail of things that we're doing with the client. Yeah.
It's funny, as you're saying that, I'm thinking of times that, how you have times that just intuitively you'll do something and it just comes out of intuition with a client, what I mean? And it might be, you're just like, I've seen this before, and you're like, I'm gonna do this today. Yeah. And sometimes you can't always, sometimes you can't, like for example, it might be like a particular adjustment. Yeah. And I might be like, I've seen this before, I just feel.
Let's go for it, yeah.
This is what's gonna work.
Yeah.
And if they do X, Y, Z, I feel like that's gonna, and that can be a hard thing to teach.
Yeah, that's right.
That's part of that like little 3% of things that are like experience.
That's right.
It's like when I do jiu-jitsu as well. It's like, like there'll be sometimes we'll be putting techniques together that there might be saying it's like, I just feel if I did that submission in this, I just feel like it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then it works.
Yeah, cool.
You know what I mean? As opposed,
Yeah.
and that's hard to teach like junior clinicians as well. 'Cause
It
I
is.
think like intuition is one of these things. When something just feels wrong,
Yeah.
I always say, if it feels wrong in your heart and in your stomach, like don't go ahead with anything.
Yeah.
But there's that, but then there's that intuition that's like, with experience, I feel like this is slightly non-conventional, but I'm going to do this, and often it does work.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's interesting where that comes from, and definitely having that experience and that openness. Yeah, that's cool. I like it. That's nice. It's part of the fun. You know, I think for us as clinicians is when someone comes into your room, and that's the beauty of not following protocols. It's not like I have a shoulder, I have this protocol. It's like I have a person coming in, and you're going to be drawing from lots of different tools that you might apply with that person, but you don't kind of know where it's going to go from the get-go, and that's what keeps the job interesting as well. I think if you were just following protocols, I've got a shoulder, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, it would get boring, man.
Big time.
Yeah, the beauty of it is, again, working with the person in front of you and seeing where it's going to go, and just grabbing tools along the way. What works, beautiful, let's go down that way. Well, if it's not working, okay, let's pivot and try something else and see how that goes.
Totally, because like even with chiro, we get told obviously there's the art, the science, and the philosophy.
Yeah.
It's not just the science.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and if you just focus on just the science, and you have I find like with a lot of the young practitioners, because they almost get shamed into like the philosophy just gets cut out of uni now. So they have like the art's not really there. They just sort of have the science and a bit of technique. Yeah. You know, and if you can't put together your philosophy, which is such an important part of how you practice, however you that's essentially like the heart and the rudder and the direction of how you want to help people, and everything else builds around that. Yeah. But if you just have philosophy and art, no science, then you're
that's right.
a bit of a quack, you know. So it's like having that blend of being able to. The art is amazing because that's the trying different stuff. Yep. You know, and that's how you. That's like a big part of where the science, because the science is a certain way, but like people have to try different things. That's right. And when you do different things and you consistently get very similar results, that's the foundation of where some science can, then go in a particular direction. That's right. Whereas if we're never trying new things, you just have to rely on outdated methods. So I think it's such an important part to honour the science part, but particularly the philosophy is important and the art. Agreed, man. It's the clinician versus the technician piece as well. Someone might be a really good technician, have amazing skills, but if they're not open to like you said, that being a bit more creative with it all, I think again they're missing out on a really potent opportunity to get great results with the client. I like bringing in the art and the creativity into it. I've been lucky enough to do that, and because of the mobility stuff, and it's always the fun part is getting creative with that person and how we're going to help get a result with that person. We've got to get a little bit creative. So yeah, that's cool. Nice.
What makes you frustrated about how some practitioners approach bodywork / pain / recovery?
Probably just an extension of what we were talking about. They don't look at someone as a full holistic human individual. I think they try and break it down to like a start and a finish and a protocol. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's a finite period, and then it's just focusing on a specific issue, and not looking at there's a presenting issue that someone has, but what's that actually telling me? Mm-hmm. And it's always telling you something deeper. Yeah. And what they come in with and what they tell you generally isn't the real issue. If someone comes in and goes, I'm getting some lower back pain. Okay, cool. The issue isn't that they're getting lower back pain. The problem is what effect on their life is the lower back pain having? So from like a understanding perspective, it's like, because if you're getting a bit of pain but it wasn't affecting work, training, it wasn't affecting your mood, a lot of people who haven't got a background in health, they'll be, oh well, no issue.
No big deal.
But the thing
really,
is, it hits a tipping point where the pain starts impacting them. So it's understanding that and not just going, okay, it's pain, it's mechanical, it's a facet, it's a disc, and just full science, disconnecting from the, just disconnecting from the person.
Agreed, man.
But also, it's just an extension of what we said. There's so many elements of the human experience that affect that. That particular issue, whatever they've presented with, might be the tipping point of an issue that needs to get addressed. But there's all these issues that contribute to that, which are part of the human experience. But also, there's such an opportunity. I always look at it, if someone comes into me, it's such an opportunity to expand their understanding of your health.
That's right.
Not go, you've come in with a speak, I'm just going to laser in on whatever that particular symptom is and just try and get symptomatic relief and not speak about anything outside of that and just leave. Because I'm like, this is my own personal philosophy, and that's the beauty of philosophy, is we all get to create our own philosophies. I think it's an opportunity to, that's like the gateway to something bigger for someone.
Yeah, agreed, man. And on that, it's when the clinician or the therapist has looked at the structural issue as a standalone issue. I heard a nice analogy for it. If you want to look at how a tree works, you don't get a cut of the tree and look under a microscope. That'll look at the cells of the tree and you'll get some information. But you look at how the roots are working with the soil beneath it, how the branches are reaching out, the birds, floating in and out of the tree, how the wind's affecting the tree. Then you'll start to understand how a tree works. And it's like the same. If we have a neck-shoulder issue and we did some massage and we did a manipulation and go, that'll fix your structural issue. You're missing out on the fact that, okay, what about all the stresses that were contributing? What about the emotions that are perhaps either preceding the issue or coming secondary to the issue? Chicken and the egg type thing. So you're missing out on learning about this person, and then you're missing out on a really potent opportunity to help this person see how the way they were navigating their life or working through their life was actually creating the issue itself. And then you can create some big shifts with that person, and that's the exciting and the really rewarding stuff, because they realise the way they were posturing, the way they were glued to the screen, stressing, putting so much pressure on themselves, was of course driving the issue, and they're missing out on a chance to make some changes in their life that'll just make life flow a whole lot better for them. So, yeah.
What's something clients desperately need to hear, but most practitioners are too scared to say?
Definitely some uncomfortable truths. If we're dealing with someone that has knee pain and they happen to be 60 kilos overweight, again, we can do all the most incredible treatment techniques for that knee, but at the end of the day, if we don't address the elephant in the room, perhaps quite literally, that's not good.
But it needs to be said.
That's insensitive.
That's an uncomfortable truth.
That's insensitive.
It's an uncomfortable truth, but still true.
Sorry, man. At the end of the day, it's like the person being overweight, that's overloading the tissues. We know that fatty cells carry more inflammation. And if you can have a difficult conversation and actually say, are you doing anything about your weight? Is that something you want to work on, or is that not something you're thinking about at all? It's just perhaps stating the fact that this person's situation is certainly the way they're living their life, how they are at the time is putting a lot of stress and a lot of load on the tissue. So having that difficult conversation about, say, someone's weight, as hard as that can be, it may be just what they need to hear. And I generally find most people are really open to having the conversation, because most people are looking for more information. And then you end up opening the door to having some deeper chats about why the weight might be there in the first place. Maybe they've had a really difficult past 5 years, and that's led them down some unhelpful strategies around eating and living, and they're wanting to get better. So even though they just came in for a sore knee, you end up opening this door to having these really meaningful conversations about how you can help or how this person can help improve quality of life and make some big changes in their life. Yeah,
definitely. For me, it's just for people, the uncomfortable truth is that they need to take responsibility for where they're at.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And some things are, we are where we're at as a direct end result of the accumulation of everything that's happened in our life until now. Most of it is due to what we've done. Some of it may be unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, where you're at is where you're at.
Yeah.
And then the next part is, like, where you want to get to is also your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, it's for me, the thing I can't handle, and it's very common, is victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got some empathy for people in terms of how they frame certain things. But I think when you've got a victim mentality, giving all your power away.
Yeah.
When you give all your power away, you're going to have a very poor chance of successfully working through, things that you want to work through. So I think it's getting out of the victim mentality, taking ownership for like where you're at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might, as you said, someone might be overweight, someone might be in a shit financial position, they might be in a relationship they don't like, or like they're doing unfulfilling work. But also realizing on the positive side for them, it's like where you're at now isn't finite. It's not the end term. Like it's just where you're at now.
Yeah.
And there's multiple different paths of where your life can go.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty is it can go in a really good direction.
Yeah.
That's probably going to take a lot of rewiring and a lot of commitment, or it can just keep on going down the same path, which will inevitably go down a worse path. Because with age, things don't. If things are bad and you're not making any changes, they're just going to get worse.
Yeah.
Like best case scenario is they stay the same.
That's right.
But we know they'll get worse. So I think the uncomfortable truth is like where you're at's where you're at, and it's your responsibility, and also it's your responsibility in terms of where things are going to go moving forward.
Yeah.
Which the beauty is, like, you have the power,
mm-hmm.
and then people like us or other people can. It's not our responsibility to save them. It's our responsibility to help them and expand their understanding and give them more tools.
Nice.
But then in the end, it's on them.
Yep.
We can't do it for them.
Like
someone does the work on the, goes and does deep work, and they want to really understand themselves, and they go see someone else that can, like a healer, that can really help them. In the end, we're just all facilitators.
That's right.
They have to. The buck stops with the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that in what you said, and by helping them to realise that uncomfortable truth of they may be responsibility for their current set of circumstances. As much as that's a tough pill to swallow at first, once they can process that, and perhaps we're in a position to help them understand why that is, then it can become really empowering.
Big time.
Because like you said, it's not on us to fix them, it's on us to help give them some tools that are going to help get them back on track and actually start to overcome those issues. Yep. So then that's we're helping them to become more empowered in their situation. Adding to it, the responsibility bit is the acceptance versus resentment or resistance piece. So it's classic Buddhism theory, which is like, okay, let's say shit happens, an injury occurs. Do I victim mentality, do I resent my set of circumstances? Do I completely resist this position that I'm in? Come up with all the reasons that it wasn't my fault in the first place. What that seems to do is just create more tension, more frustration, more emotion, which feeds into the thing, and it just spirals and spirals. So when we can start to shift it towards acceptance and go, okay, this is where I'm at, this is my current set of circumstances, this is my injury, and it may be here because of X, Y, Z, like you said. Perhaps they can take some responsibility for the position that they're in, and then, okay, what do we need to do to move through this as peacefully as we can? They might be in more of a position to take some of the tools that you're able to provide them with on board and kind of move through and make some big changes. But yeah, that acceptance versus resentment, so much of the time, you know, it might be a CrossFitter with a sore shoulder, and the other thing is they're cursing their injury. This freaking shoulder, I can't snatch, I can't do this, I can't do that. And even the way they're talking to their own injury like it's your freaking fault, like, fuck you, shoulder, you know, and there's this anger and this frustration around it. Why won't it get better? Nothing's working. And it's like, well, you're still trying to snatch 100 kilos 4 times a week. That's, you know, and it's like, rather than have that frustration in your situation, have a little bit of compassion for the whole situation. And, you know, the shoulder's just doing its best. You're absolutely abusing yourself day in, day out, not recovering well, not managing your nervous system, and you're wondering why this issue isn't getting better, you know. So accepting that you know, that it's here as it is, my current set of circumstances are as they are because of these reasons. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to look at the big picture, zoom out, look at it all, and make some changes, and then things start to fall into place a little bit better.
Very cool.
It's interesting.
I like the, how the, like, going through a process where you start to actually have to surrender to what's going on.
That's right.
Yeah, and you get a lot of people who aren't, there's one demographic that are like very much victim mentality, and you get the other people that are more the other way. They're just like, I just want to control everything and get back like as fast as can and just control the whole process.
That's right.
So they both have their own set of issues, and a lot of like driven individuals, they're down this way.
Yeah.
And then what they have the most difficulty with, and I've always found this myself, was like trying to control everything and just push through and control. Yeah. Because that's worked. Yeah. It's worked in various areas of my life, so therefore it's going to work with the body and healing. It's like, nah. Yeah. It's like the body doesn't give a shit. That's right. That you have timelines and that
and it's going to be very
organised
well.
and that you can work hard. It's like it doesn't give. It's like if anything, that's going to work against you. Yeah. And I found just pivoting to, I mean, there's injuries, but even pivoting to like things like burnout. Yeah, and that's something I've right. gone into more is even when I had to start treating myself or working with someone to work through that, the same thing, I grossly underestimated how long it would take to neurologically get like that window of tolerance at a really good level again. Yeah. Which then, so you had to like slow down to then speed up. That's right. And the ego doesn't want to, when you've been rewarded and you have an identity around being hardworking, a grinder, all these sort of things, like you don't want to, and you have a lot of guilt around not being productive and slowing down, and it's such a common thing with like driven people that they have so much difficulty like slowing down and surrendering to a process. That's right. And not realizing that because control, what lies beneath control is fear as well, and they can't. If you can't control it, it's like what the fuck is going to happen? Like the fear is, I'm going to lose my edge. I'm not going to be. Everything I've built, that's going to start falling apart. But it's like it's actually the opposite. Yeah. And that's interesting that you said that. And I've only just shifted my mentality probably in the last year. Yeah. Like into being a bit more having at times you just got to surrender to different things. That's right. And not get attached to the outcomes of everything and timelines, and not just be at peace with having to slow down if your body's injured or if something's happening. It's just a sign that you got to listen. You got to listen to those signs. Yeah. And I'm sure you can push through, but then it's like it's going to catch up. It's like a credit card. The bill's going to come. Yeah. You can keep racking up more and more credit. One day someone's going to go, look, mate, you got to pay that bill. And when you got to pay the bill, it's going to be a hefty bill. That's right. And for things like, whether it might be shoulder, the bill might be surgery. Yeah. If it's for something like burnout, the bill might be you go bankrupt, you get divorced, you have a heart attack. Yeah, that's right. And the more you delay that process of being able to actually surrender to the process and actually accept what's going on, the quicker you can do that, the better you're going to get back to performing at the level that you want to.
Yeah, that's right. Nicely said, man. And it is, it's an honesty thing as well. One, you have to listen to the signs. Classic, you know, listen when the body's whispering at you before it starts screaming at you. You know, classic. The whispers are there. The body's trying to tell you it's not happy about something. If you ignore it, sweep it under the rug, keep going, the signs are just going to get stronger. The body's going to start, the noise is going to come up, the signals are going to get stronger and stronger until, like you said, we fall off the edge of the cliff and we find ourselves in a serious problem. So yeah, I think a key, whether it's burnout sort of thing or I believe closely related to injury management stuff, is just listening to the signals coming from the body, coming from the nervous system, coming from the tissues, because they're telling you. It's telling you the way it wants to be going through life, and if you're not listening and you're nah, fuck, she'll be right, and you just push on, the signals are going to get louder and louder, and you could find yourself in a problem. Yeah.
Why are so many practitioners in your spaces completely missing the mark when it comes to actual transformation?
The first layer of, I think there's so many different layers to this. I think layer one is they're not getting on the same level with the client. That human to human, and actually listening to what they want and actually understanding the words beneath what they're saying. Like I was saying before, like if someone comes in and goes, oh, I'm getting neck pain and I'm getting this shoulder pain that's affecting me, and just treating it purely as okay, that's just a symptom, and not really listening to what is that actually saying? Is it saying that's affecting me in terms of I can't concentrate, it's affecting my sleep? Is it affecting my confidence in my body? Is it affecting how like my training? Is it affecting whatever it is? Like what's the actual life effect? And that's the reason they're coming in, and being able to understand that it's affecting that. And then also a big part of it, so just to understand why they're there in the first place. The next layer is like it's so important to before someone will accept the message, they've got to accept the messenger. You know, and a big part is like having to be like, you want to really build that connection off the bat, like really being present, enjoying the process of meeting someone, and really actually wanting to help them and be curious. Because I think when you're not present and you shut off, or you're a bit robotic and a bit too clinical, like a lot of people, they just be like, it's very different, you know, to someone like, you don't have to be necessarily likable. It's probably better if you.
It helps.
It helps. You know? Like if you're dislikable, it's probably going to work against you. But it's that capacity to build rapport and like build credibility quick and be present. And you know, if you are likable, it's great. And get them like at peace that they go straight away. They're like, I'm in the right place. This person gives a shit about me. And then from there, really important part of transformation as well is not to go, oh, I want to get you from here to here. That might be the goal, but such an important path is to get that first win.
Yeah, agreed.
For people. You know? And if it's someone's like, you know, it's like someone's 60 kilos overweight. Yeah, they want to get to like a certain amount of weight and they want to be doing triathlons and that. It's like, awesome. That's the goal, but we got to get you first win. Yeah. So I think it's just getting someone, building the rapport, having that ability, so that builds trust. Get them to get that first win, and that first win allows them to have confidence in themselves, which is incredibly important, but also allows them to have confidence in you leading them. Yeah. And that's going to set them on the right path, then to start to work towards something more, you know, meaningful and long term.
Completely agree, man. Yeah, being willing to sit and listen and have an actual conversation is so important, and I think a lot of clinicians maybe could work on that, and that's certainly something I like to do, is let's take a seat and have a chat first, like, how you going? And I want to learn about the person. And you learn so much about that person in that process, and then you go way beyond the little ailment that brought them in, like let's say it's neck shoulder pain, and you're able to see again the way they're living their life is the thing that's driving the shoulder pain. A classic example. A client, came in with neck shoulder pain. Yet she, when she's telling me her story, she's sitting on the edge of her seat. She's breathing up here. I can see the tension in her body. I'm just sitting there listening and observing and getting curious. And if I just jumped in to, okay, how's the neck moving? What's tight? What's weak? Straight into treatment, straight into strengthening exercises, as opposed to realizing the main thing was that this lady was so freaking stressed, and there was all this stuff going on that was causing her tension within herself. I wouldn't have given myself the opportunity to have that conversation with her about perhaps the effect that maybe stress was having on her body, and like you say, just get that little win. And for me, that first win was just down-regulating the nervous system, and I didn't have to give the most advanced, cutting-edge mobility exercise. It was literally, let's observe what's happening with the breath, and let's actually just down-regulate a little bit, and let's catch up next week, and we'll look at some more stuff. She came in a week later. She's like, Cam, I feel amazing. I feel incredible. And then what that ended up doing was her realizing that lots of the things in her life were causing her a lot of stress. She ended up, getting a divorce and losing 20 kilograms and joining a hiking club, and completely changed her life because she realized the thing that was causing all of her pain was a lot of stress and inner conflict, that if I didn't give ourselves the opportunity to really learn about this person, I would have just treated the neck, massage, strengthening exercises. She would have been, working away. Maybe it would have helped the acute issue, but she wouldn't have gone on to make those other changes. So I feel where a lot of clinicians are going wrong is they're not giving themselves enough time. You don't need that much time to have these deep chats, but they're a bit jumping the gun to trying to give the best treatment technique and the best exercise without actually just learning about the person and learning about what's going on in their life that's actually driving the issue. I think a lot of clinicians could just chill out a little bit, have a better chat before kind of diving into being this incredible technician and doing the best treatment technique and the best exercise, evidence-based exercise. Rather, get to know the person and see what they might need. Yeah,
definitely. It's funny how often as clinicians we can look at things and be like, oh, that win's so small, because we're so used to we're so used to expecting certain things, whereas these small wins are quite big for a lot of people. Yeah, and we can minimise them because it's just so normal. Yeah, we just expect to get certain level of results. So I think, and often what can happen is that people try and really move the needle. Just as you said, they try for these massive shifts and changes so quickly, and they can, in doing that, they're sometimes just too big. They can bombard people, and then they don't realise that just having something, just something like what you said was perfect. Just getting her win was getting her to understand that the nervous system playing a role. That stress was playing a role, and get her to actually start to look at her life. That's right. And then that was the first step. That was that cascade. It's exactly right. Such a big thing. And I often said to my boys at work, people, even one of the things that one of the process-driven things that we do, but I say it's so important, is after we do a history with a client, is really actively listen to the client. Don't be sitting there. That's right. With a pen and just looking, disconnecting. Really focus on understanding. What you're going to basically say with the history, but obviously listen actively as well. So have some structure, but actively listen. Yeah. But after you do it and you've got everything you need, recap it to the client. Yeah. And if you can recap that to the client, in a very succinct way, and
Yeah.
normally you should be able to do it a lot better than what they did to you.
Yeah.
What does that do? That's like they felt heard.
Yeah.
Just to feel heard
Yeah.
is a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
How many people have gone to, they go, how often do you go to a GP and feel heard? You know,
It's been a while since I've been to one.
Yeah. Or like people, but like for most people, they go anywhere they go, they don't feel heard.
That's right.
And it's such like a innate need that we have. And
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
just for someone to rock up to a place, someone's like excited to see them, they're curious, and then they actually get to verbalize it, and they're asking questions that are relevant, and to be able to recap that and go, oh, I just felt, I've actually felt heard. Like
Yeah.
a lot of practitioners will be like, well, they don't actually see the value in that, but like just that alone can be something that just like is just the first win for
It's
a client.
huge, man.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, I completely agree, and I think a lot of practitioners and perhaps a lot of young practitioners, they don't yet understand the huge effect they can have on a person. They haven't maybe gone through that yet, where they've helped this person go through these huge transformations. But these changes we're talking about, they can create this cascade that eventually leads to these life-changing circumstances. So I think that's significant. Is for practitioners to actually realise that helping this person be able to squat again, or be able to bend over and pick something up again, or be able to move through the day without this pain, that can lead to this huge roll-on effect. Whether it's losing a heap of weight, whether it's becoming less stressed on the day-to-day, that can be life-changing. And I think a lot of practitioners don't quite realise how impactful they can be.
What's the biggest mistake you made trying to scale your business while maintaining quality?
For me, it was, once I started scaling the business to a certain level, I was treating too much and not spending enough time training and onboarding the other chiropractors.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my biggest thing. And I grossly underestimated how much work it takes to actually properly onboard someone, and how much work it takes to get them to the level that I wanted to get them to. So that was my biggest thing, yeah. And doing it while seeing a full-time workload clinically.
Yeah.
So that was okay when I just had 2 other chiros,
Mm-hmm.
and one was already at a pretty high level as it was. But once I added like the 4th chiro in the team, that's when I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I need to actually start peeling back off the tools a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit, like just gradually. You don't have to go from like full time to like next to nothing, but just peeling back like a shift, 2
Yeah.
shifts a week, and actually developing a proper onboarding system that was compassionate towards the associate chiro, to
Yeah.
sort of like be able to really support them in terms of like spending quite a bit of time with them, and actually have a structured system to get them at a level where they start really feeling a lot more confident,
Yeah.
but still putting things in place that, through regular training and to really help support them grow.
Yeah.
And I think the problem I did initially was I grossly underestimated the amount of support that they needed. I thought just giving them a lot of new clients and a bit of training was enough, like a little bit of onboarding, how to do some basic stuff, and give them like a really high new client load. And they will get better just from seeing people, but these days we really spend a lot of time onboarding and training.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Did you? How'd you find pulling back on the tools? Was that an interesting?
It was tough, yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough because when you pull back off the tools, there's a couple of different things that happen. It challenges your identity,
Yeah, that's right.
which is
Bit of
challenging.
ego stuff.
Yeah, a
kind
bit
of
of ego stuff. You're bringing less revenue in.
Yeah.
You're having to outsource some of the work to a level that they're not operating at your level as well. So you've got all those sort of things. But also, once I realised, and I had people tell me like for years in business, like you have to do that at a certain level. You have to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can keep working full time and then grow this business. But then your mind is just scattered. And it wasn't until I actually really started to cut back, and then you start looking at things. you know, you look at things differently.
Yeah.
You're not like in it
Yeah.
so much, and you can actually start to, because when you're working full-time clinically as well, like your brain's, you know how it is.
Well, it's
You don't-
draining.
Yeah, it's draining.
working
It's
with
draining,
people.
yeah. And it's not, for me, I could do it physically, it's easy.
That's right.
Like people go, fuck, like, you know, is your body? I'm like, my body's fine. I could see people for 12 hours. My body's fine. It's the being present and being with people and things like that. And then you need that. And then there's that. And then if you're doing things like content, that's like a lot of, and you've got to be present and you've got to be on for that and prep for that. And then also when you're wanting to be with your team, you got to be present and you got to be on.
Yeah.
So you hit a point where it's like you can't just be present and on doing all these different things, because what happens is you're going to do everything poorly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reality. And the ego sort of hit that the thing I had to go through is I had to realize it's like, no, you can't actually, you think you can do it all, but you can't do it all.
That's right.
You're actually doing content pretty poorly because you're showing up and you're not really on, and then you're actually doing your clients a disservice.
Yeah.
Because even though you can do it and you can do it well, it's like you're not fully there.
Yeah.
And when you're with your staff, you're not fully there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then outside, you're with socially, I just was like,
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I'll just see some of my mates and that's it. And then you're not really there either. So it's like overall, you're like trying to do it all, but you're not really doing anything. So for me, like I had to go through that and then go, okay, cool, peel back, hire some people, peel back a bit more, and then got to a level I was like, fuck, this is really good.
Yeah.
So I'm actually doing a lot of the work that I want to do, and I can actually see I'm more present in the things that, I'm more present with my clients now. I'm enjoying my load now with clients, and just my quality of work across the board is just so much better.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and that was just relinquishing that control of thinking that you can just, you think you just push through. But as you add more pieces on and more things you have to do, it gets much harder.
Well, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
Because, that's what I haven't done yet. I'm still doing a lot of clinic hours, and obviously I love treating clients. I love being with clients. It's the thing I do love the most, but I'm also very passionate about building a business of clinicians who practice in a way that kind of is in alignment with the way that I like to practice, in a way that I believe helps people. So yes, I'm currently navigating that. I'm working on where I need to certainly empower others and delegate some roles to others. You certainly cannot, like you say, be doing all the different functions of the business. You can't be doing them all really well all the time, let alone personal life, training, all the other things which are important for you to show up, to the best that you can be as well. So that's definitely one thing I've learnt since having the second business in Cnter Space and Cnter Space Physio. It was all ticking along quite well at Darch and everything, moving along really nicely, and then bringing the second business into existence. It's been challenging, and yes, certainly pulling back a little bit as the go-to clinician and working to empower my team is the biggest thing I think I can do. I need to keep empowering those other guys who I know are amazing and just as amazing as I can be, but it's showing the world that, and so that's a bit of a content piece like we chatted about, is getting them in front of people's faces a little bit more, so to show the world that there's other physios that can do just as good of a job. So I think that's probably the art, and it is letting go of the ego stuff. I don't need to be the go-to person, and I think the best thing that I can do to build this place is empower the other guys and help them get busier. And for sure. And
there's a cool part where I think it's just natural progression. Like when you start off in practice, you're insecure and you're trying to prove yourself, and then you get better and better and better. And then it's like you start getting a bit rewarded and you get results, and then there's like a bit of the ego starts developing. And then you hit this transition point where you go, no, I'd actually rather, like a bigger compliment for me now is for someone to come and, you know, see one of my other practitioners and they go, I actually really like that guy.
That's
and
right.
I always go, I might start seeing him. I'm like, that's amazing. You know, because it's like, you can see them growing and developing.
That's right.
As opposed to having this like massive gap. And you
Yeah.
see that in so many practices.
100%.
In your industry, my industry, where like the main guy is the main dude and then there's like the other guy or the other guys and there's this huge gap.
That's right.
And like for me, it's like I don't want to build a business around it. I think if you're like just want to be the main dude, keep like a really small, lean business.
That's right.
If you want to be the main dude,
that's fine.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's cool.
If you want to stay on the tools forever, and
correct.
That's right.
Yeah. And if someone wants to do that, and they're just like, cool, they'll build themselves up.
Simple business. That's
correct.
cool.
Yeah, 100%. Like can be highly profitable as well, and you have a bit of autonomy. But the thing is like, or if you're going to go down the other part, then you're going to go, all right, I'm going to build a business, not just building something around myself.
Yeah.
And then it's, all right, how do I get clear on scaling the way that I operate and the way I think and the way that I treat and actually and building up people from, you know, that level and just slowly building them up that you can get them to a level where, I mean, my thing with Gorilla is I want it to be a practice that it doesn't matter who you see, it's a great experience.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They go, oh yeah, I saw that guy, or I might prefer this guy, but like they don't go, oh, I went there and that guy, shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to be like, they like, no matter what, like it's like they see like a guy's like a lad, he listens to him, like they can treat well, they leave and they're like, oh, perfect. You know, perfect. I know it's like a reliable, a reliable place no matter who I see. That's my vision with it. So, like, and part of that is, you just have to, I think strategically from a brand perspective, you can't make it like, for me, it was like, Gorilla, it was just me. So it's like the Dr. Ryan show.
Yeah.
And that's fine when it's just you, but then if you got to pivot to then as you get bigger and you bring on other practitioners, you can't just be about one person. It's got to be then pivot into like it's something bigger.
That's right.
And you got to slowly like phasing yourself out, maybe not having your face in everything. And it's a bit more about who do we look after? What communities do we look after? Who do we help? What sort of people come in?
Yeah.
Like and building content around that sort of stuff, and then slowly introducing other practitioners.
Yeah.
And doing that in a way that then people start feeling familiar with like who they see. And I want to see the guy on the video.
Yes.
The guy on the video is who I want to see. I want to see that guy. I don't want to see anyone else. Because often you have really good other practitioners. And then it's just that social proof of being the guy on the video. They're like, I want to see him. Yeah. Even though they can get a great, maybe even a better result with someone else. So I think really having to pivot from that wanting to be the man, unless someone's like, that's what they want to do. Yeah. I know I'm not. I'm well and truly past that.
Which is good, and I think it takes work on yourself to be willing to uplift and empower others and not need to be the man. Because I have been at clinics when I was a younger physio where it was almost like a competition. And perhaps, maybe the boss didn't want you to be the man because he was the man. And so there was almost this little bit of
wrestling and all that.
That's right. And I remember thinking, this is ridiculous. Whereas now it's like, if I happen to not be available, so then someone sees one of my other physios, and if they choose to stay with that physio, I'm like, that's great. Like I'm stoked because I'm busy enough.
Correct.
And I want people to realise that the other physios are just as good. You know, and that to me that's a win. And I think it's a sign of a good brand when it's not all about the Michael Jordan and there's Scottie Pippen. Without Scottie Pippen, MJ wouldn't have been
Don't win championships on your own.
That's right. You don't.
You need a good team.
You do. So I think that's a big part of it.
Big time. Yeah. And the thing is, if you're putting the work into the other practitioners as well, like they're just going to get better.
Yeah, that's right.
And most of the time, if someone's in their first 5 years of 5-6 years of practice, they're going to, as long as they're like they're intentionally working on things, I find like every 6 month block, you can really see a shift in improvement as well, which is cool. And it's good to hear like when I say if I go away and someone else sees some of my other chiros, and then they might give me some feedback, and then 6 months later, I might go away, then they see them again, they're like, oh shit, that guy's, it's pretty good.
That's
Oh,
right.
he's got a lot better. They're like, there's no greater compliment.
That's right.
Okay, almost the ultimate compliments when they're like, I might start singing, or this guy's really, I'm like,
That's a good thing.
I'm genuinely like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
it
amazing. Because like what you said, like you have to, and I'm now gone through that level of, I've had to, peel back to 50% less.
Yeah.
Probably like I'm doing, 3 shifts a week over 2 days. So like I've really cut my clinical load down, and the hard part of it as well, and I can really empathise with where you're at now, is you build relationships with clients, and you sometimes, it's this weird thing, you feel this guilt that you're cutting back.
That's right.
And there's like, you're letting them down, there's a bit of guilt. Like you need to do it.
Yeah.
But there's this weird,
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, and you get this weird, and you have like, oh shit, like for me when I stopped doing Saturdays, I did Saturdays for 16 years.
Yeah.
And
hats off, man.
yeah, and then, but not working Saturdays now is fucking amazing.
Oh, dude.
It's amazing. Like having a Saturday, Sunday, and
that
I still,
novelty doesn't wear off.
yeah, and like, and the quality of my life is amazing.
So much better, man.
But the thing is, it's like, and I have clients that just, they can only come Saturdays.
Yeah.
And for me to stop doing Saturdays meant, there's a bunch of my clients is like, it was almost like that was the end. Like I couldn't treat them anymore. So some of them,
breakup.
yeah, it was almost like, and I felt, again, I'll justify going, but the Saturday shifts is good vibe, and it is, but also there was a point in time I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to cut back something, and there's going to be people who are going to be like, what the fuck, Ryan?
That's
like,
right.
You're just, what are you, retiring now?
Yeah.
And you get there's the letdown, there's the guilt, there's the comments, like that sort of stuff. So there's that sort of stuff you got to sort of wrestle with. But in the end, the bigger thing is it's like, you have a bigger vision of what's to happen, and I think
that's right.
It's understanding that like you might have to, you got to work through the people pleasing, and the bigger vision is like, I have to be right, and I need to know where to put my energy for the bigger goal.
And the bigger goal creates a bigger impact.
Correct.
It's more of a ripple effect, because you can only see, how many can you see in a day? I mean, chiros and physio is slightly different, but let's say 10 to 15 to 20 people, something like that.
Yeah.
Versus if you build up a team that's creating a bigger impact amongst the community, you know. And I think that's more meaningful.
Definitely.
Than just being the guy.
Definitely. And there's some people they just love being clinicians.
That's
and
right.
they have no interest in doing marketing. They have no interest in telling,
that's right.
running systems and putting their money on the line and dealing with the stress and stuff. And there's other people that they might not be ready now, but they might want to do it down the track as well. So it's like, I think it's just creating a team where you can facilitate that properly and have a bigger impact.
Nice, man. Cool.
At what point did you realise you needed to stop just being a practitioner and become a business owner?
Good timing for you.
Yeah.
Good timing of this question.
That's right. Well, I mean, even going back, I think I was only a physio. I think I was practicing for 5 years, and I loved the clinics where I was at. And you have bosses, and you learn things that you like, how they function, and maybe things that don't fully resonate. And it really just came down to the fact that I knew I had my own way of operating and my own way of doing things, and I just wanted to do that. And I'm grateful for the me of 10 years ago that had the courage to just go, you know what, let's just go for it and have a crack and do it what really is in alignment with how I want to operate. And see what happens, and then you create this business that's you, and it feels right and it feels good, and you're excited to roll up to work because it's your baby, So yeah, that's been my take on it. That was starting business in the first point, and then starting a second business was as I've continued to evolve. Particularly down the kind of mindfulness and the nervous system management path and that sort of thing was when Centerspace popped up. And again, having the courage to just go for it and continue to show up and operate in a way that's fully in alignment with with what feels right.
How long were you in practice before you then went to the business?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, I did 2 years just like working like an animal, doubles on doubles.
Double shifts?
Double shifts, most days. So starting at 7 and finishing at 7 or a bit later, and seeing a lot of clients. You know, I don't regret those times. I got to see so many clients and learn a lot in that process. But after about 2 years, I was burnt out, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to keep up that pace. And I knew I had to change the way I was operating that was more in alignment, that was going to feel good, that wasn't going to drain me every day, that I was going to continue to show up the best version of myself as a person and clinician. So yeah, 5 years in, that's when I started Darch Physio, yeah.
Cool. For me, I started practice straight out of uni.
Yeah.
So I was the only one in my year that did it.
It's a good effort.
Yeah. Like I look back I was 26.
Yeah.
I did high school. I did 9 years of uni.
That's ambitious.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
like I look back and I was like, had no cash.
Yeah.
Obviously no business acumen like anyone who finishes chiro or physio school off the bat, and then
That's cool.
Yeah, and when you graduate, you got no idea clinically as well. Like you just think, you know what, I'm good enough. I can help people. It's almost
That's
like,
awesome, man.
It's almost like your lack of. It's like this. It's almost like passion, ambition, and ignorance is bliss. Like you don't know what you don't know, and you just like throw your hat in the ring and just go for it. And that was back in an era where I started my own practice straight out of uni. So I started when I graduated in 2010. I started taking a lease on a place in December 2010. So I only just finished in December, and I was already paying for a lease because a lease popped up in an era. And then my registration with APRA got delayed until March. So my start of my business career was I actually wasn't even allowed. I was paying for a lease for 4 months before I could even see my first client.
When you didn't have much money.
APRA, I was like, when's it ready? Like, it's busy. I'm like, I get it. Did you not expect registrations to come? So that was like off the bat, and pretty much the surplus of cash I had, gone. Damn. Yeah, between that and getting a loan and doing that sort of stuff. But like in doing that, you're like, holy shit, here we are. Do your own front desk. You're trying to figure out shit. You know what I mean? You do this bare bones effort of no cash, no business acumen, and very poor clinically. In terms of anyone who graduates shit clinically.
The triple
whammy. It's like, and people might think when they graduate, it's like, yeah, you can help people, but you're shit. And that's like you're supposed to be shit.
Well, yeah, I say when you finish uni, your apprenticeship begins.
100%.
That's what I say.
100%. Yeah, and it's like, I think the misnomer can be like, now I'm a
fully
qualified.
fledged.
Now I'm. It's like you pretty much know how not to mess someone up.
Yeah, you know how to be safe.
Yeah, you know how to be safe. Correct. You don't know how to be effective.
That's right.
And that's where the journey.
That's right.
That's where the journey begins. So that was cool. So I went and through that journey, and I'm very much wired. I have to be in like an entrepreneurial seat. Yeah, I can't work for anyone. Yeah. Like I still love I get coaches. I still get coached for the day. I still love. It's not like I can't be told what to do. I definitely take feedback. I feel like I'm very coachable, but also I can't.
No,
work
man.
For someone. I'm just wired. I'm like, if I don't have the autonomy, I'm like live by the sword, die by the sword. And if I can't go, all right, I'm going to try this. Or I want to put a budget into this. And someone else might go, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, fuck it. I want to give it a go. You know? And the thing is, I've made a lot of mistakes and wasted a lot of money doing things. But also in that journey, I've started gold's come out of that sort of stuff, you know. And someone who's a bit more measured might go, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Right. But I've started to discover things through that process, you know. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. There's no textbook way, and through doing it, then I discovered my love for, understanding yourself, doing a bit of inner work, how to perform better, how to like brand, market, connect with people, understand that sort of stuff. So like you learn all these skills that are just so important.
Yeah.
And that are very transferable skills for any business.
Well, it's cool, man, and it takes courage to put yourself in that position. But at the end of the day, it's forced you to get creative.
Yeah.
And for me, that's one of the joys of life is being creative and seeing how are we going to get through this little thing and make it work.
Yeah.
And that's really fun. And it takes time, and it takes courage, and it takes good, authentic, honest work to kind of get through. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. And running a business, being a director, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. It's just not. It's just not. Some people want to rock up at start and then go home and clock off, and then that's done. And power to them and good on them, because I'm sure it's more peaceful. But for me, a lot of the fun is what you're talking about. Yeah.
And those people are great people within our teams.
You need them.
We
need
as long
them.
as they're
That's
engaged and they like being part of it and contribution. I mean, they can clock in, clock out. But if they're like, when they clock in, clock out, they're like,
let's
I'm
go.
part of something bigger. Let's go. It's like, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
We need all sorts of people. We don't want 15 entrepreneurs in your business, otherwise it'd be an absolute chaotic shit show.
That's right.
So it's like but we are enough just having one in it, let alone multiple. But every business needs to be well balanced, and the bigger it is, the more well balanced it needs to be. I think when you start off, it's very much like Swiss Army knife. Like people doing all sorts of things. You're being versatile in all these different areas, and then as it gets bigger and bigger, then it becomes a bit more like specialised, and you can actually have people in certain departments or that are responsible for certain things, and actually be able to hire high quality people to run things. Like obviously you can't really afford an amazing clinic manager. It's very hard to afford that if you're starting a practice off the bat. You have to just work your way up, and then when something's more significant, then you can build in hire better people.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Cool. How do you deal with the guilt of charging what you're actually worth?
When I started my business, I was like undercharging all the time. So when I started, it was 16 years ago, but I remember so it was back then, it was for a standard consult, it was full fee paying was $49. So I would do things like, I created like concession category, and I created like the child category. So then they'd be like $39 and then $29 for a child. So when I started, I just put like everyone in like,
of course,
concession and put them in like private or child category and all sorts of things. And I barely would even charge anyone.
Athletes.
Athletes. I was doing sponsorships left, right, and centre, and just doing that sort of stuff where you do all this work, and so much of it is to like initially, all right, to build things up, but then I think a lot of it, it's like you're trying to be liked as well. Like, I'm looking after people. I'm like, doing all this. And then when eventually everything went fucking kaput and I lost everything and not scaled up and did something else and all went to shit, I was like, and I came out of that, I was just like, oh, that wasn't appreciated by 95% of people.
That's right.
And I went, oh, okay. I'm not doing that again. So like now, then after went bankrupt and had to restart leasing out of a room, I was like, okay, well, my price is my price, and that's what it is. And I just have to increase the level of my service, and if people don't see value, they don't see value. Or if they've got to come in less frequent, they come in less frequent. So like I had a thing where I'd be like, it's either full price or some people I'd just look after them for free.
Yeah.
And I went one day. I got scrapped the whole concession category, scrapped all these things that, like, people, and that's each for their own. But my thing after that was like, my fee is my fee, and then just slowly just increased it. And I was like, they don't see the value, that's fine.
Good on you, man.
And I had to go through that experience to then reflect and go, like, you're just discounting to be liked.
Yeah.
and to be accepted.
That's right.
Yeah,
And it's a self-worth thing
Yeah, big
as
time,
well.
big time.
When you're starting out, you haven't yet developed the self-worth.
Yeah.
You know, you're just grateful that you got people to treat, you
Yeah.
know, and you want to look after them, you want to
Yeah.
make sure they're going to come back,
Sure.
all that sort of thing.
A lot of health practitioners, they think, why do they become health practitioners?
Mm.
They like helping people.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
And there's always like I find like there's, I feel like being a health practitioner, we all naturally like helping people, but we hate discussions around money
Yeah.
as well. I think there's like, whereas if someone's in finance or real estate, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like money's money, you know. Whereas
Yeah.
I think we have this weird. It's almost like we health practitioners, all of us, like I think all of us, like especially allied health practitioners, I think we have this weird. We lower our own.
Yeah.
Well, and also with people, I think people think, oh well, you should be helping people.
Yeah.
So why that you shouldn't be making that much money.
That's
You should be
right.
helping people because you want to help people. So, and I think we can take on that, you know, that dialogue, and
Yeah.
because we do, but then we in doing that, we start undervaluing ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we think, oh, we should be doing it just to help people.
That's right.
But in the end, when you do work in your house and the tradies rock up and then they give you the bill, then you realise it's like, oh shit, life's expensive and everyone's,
Yeah,
you know, everyone
that's right.
who's got a skill,
Yeah.
like they're,
You got to value.
You know, you gotta-
yourself,
they value
value your
themselves,
service.
yeah, yeah.
And it's an energetic exchange as well.